Which we just started the whole thing from the top? From the top. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 24. How do you say 24 in Spanish?
24.
Welcome to episode 24. How's
24, that's good, I think. I mean, listen.
24. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 24 of TTS Talk. My name is Chris Tutela, alongside, once again, my friend, colleague, my co-host,
Ruben Borges. What's up, guys?
And on today's show, what we want to discuss is all the BS going on out there with functional training and what is truly functional, and there's
what
a
works
lot
and what doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a lot of gimmicks out there. There's a lot of boot camps claiming to be quote-unquote functional, and we want to address what that actually means today, right? So the problem is a lot of people in the fitness industry will discuss or talk about functional training, and then their functional training is going to be bouncing on some type of wobble board or Bosu ball, juggling poodles, and doing all that types of crazy shit, right?
That'd be impressive.
Would be impressive.
Yeah, but
now look, I'm not saying that there's no place for stuff like that occasionally, right, to work it in. But that is not what defines functional training. And the reason being is because you're not going to develop, when we're talking about functional training, what we really want to do is develop strength and quality of movement, right, efficient movement in your fundamental human movement patterns, which we talked about before. The squat, the hinge, the press, the pull, the carry, the lunge, right?
Yep.
So those drills, right? Certain balancing drills and stuff like that, and you're doing a squat on a balance board, and you can't really overload the exercise. There's really first of all, it's risky, right? I've seen guys doing a squat like with a loaded barbell on a Bosu ball.
yeah, that's
right?
just not very intelligent to be trying.
Right. So like, if you're an athlete, and we're talking about functional training, and then you're using drills like that, like the problem is that the ground, the field, the court that you're playing on is not an unstable surface, right? It's a stable surface, and you have to learn to become stable on that surface, right? So you're training balance points, and like I said, there is a time and a place where you can work these drills in if you really want to work on certain balance points and whatnot.
A little chaotic training once in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you really want to have strength, right, that carries over to the real world strength, real world muscle, then the key is training in the fundamental human movement patterns, big compound movements.
Yeah, and there's something simple you touched up on, they're trying to relate it to their sport. Unilateral movements is where it's at. The lunges and the different variations, the different resistance you can give it, tempo, loads, with one-legged movements, because in sport, a lot of times, whether it be football, coach, basketball, baseball, we're on one leg at a time. We're not going to be on a round ball or anything. We're going to be in that flat surface, maybe stopping eccentrically on a leg, exploding to the other, always using one leg. So that's a big key of strength there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no doubt. And, let's take it a step further for a sec, too, because you mentioned athletes and the importance of unilateral strength, which is crucial, but the general population, too. Like, if you want to be functional, like most people, they want to look better, they want to move better, they want to feel better, right?
Yeah.
Regardless if you're an athlete or you're just a weekend warrior or just the average Joe that's just trying to get in shape. Like, if you want to feel better and you want to be stronger, you want to feel better about yourself, you want more muscle, then you got to be training in these same movement patterns. So everyone essentially should train like an athlete, all right? And training like an athlete does not mean balancing on some wobble board, right? But loading the fundamental human movement patterns and developing strength in them, that is how you're going to develop that quote-unquote functional strength.
Do you think, Coach, a lot of these guys, when they're doing these crazy kind of bouncing on a ball things, they're just looking at a way to make this exercise more difficult, but meanwhile, they're going by it the wrong way? There's so many ways to make it more difficult. I feel like people just think progressive overload with the loading of the bar. So like, all right, I'm going up. How do we make this harder? And then we balance on the ball, not realizing about isometric holds, a slow eccentric, maybe some band work, resistant band work. Right? Would you say that'd be the reason maybe sometimes they go into that?
Yeah, I think people just get too creative for their own good. Like certain coaches out there will start to get really creative and try these different things, which is great. Like if you want to try new things, but it's gotten a little bit too far. Yeah. It's gone a little bit too far, over the years where we start to add these drills in here. That look, you don't have 24 hours a day to train, right? Most people, and we're talking about the general population. Most people, they like we talked about last episode. Time is usually one of the biggest, the biggest problems that people face, right? So if time is of the essence, then we got to give you the biggest bang for your buck when you are here, right? And for the general population, if you want to move better, look better, feel better, lose body fat, build muscle, right? Then that's not what you should be spending your time on. You got to be time efficient here, right? So. And when I talk about overloading the movement patterns, like again, we've talked about this and we've beaten it over and over again, but you don't have to just be married to a back squat with a barbell. Like there's different ways to overload variations. Right, for sure, that are safer, smarter, more joint friendly, totally fine. But so as far as the general population goes, using these variations of compound movements are going to be way more efficient than just wasting your time trying to balance on some wobble board.
And these variations can be done with anything, right, Coach? I mean, you got your pressing, your vertical pulling, vertical pressing, lunging, turn it into Bulgarian split squat, walking lunging, reverse lunges, loading up your back on a lunge, dumbbells, contralateral. There's so many variations. I mean, we can be here all day talking about that rather than bouncing on a ball or bouncing on.
Right. So at the end of the day, if you want to train functionally, we're talking about compound multi-joint exercises, right? If you think of a squat, you got the hips, you got the knees, right? It's a full body exercise. We talk about stabilization, right? Strengthening the spine. The same goes with a deadlift or its variations, right? When you're training a press, you're getting your elbows, you're getting your shoulders moving, right? So they're multi-joint lifts, multi-joint movements. That's what you should focus on when you're talking about really building functional strength that's going to carry over to the real world. Now, what wouldn't be functional? Using machines aren't really great in that sense. Now, that doesn't mean you can never use machines. It doesn't mean you can't. Right. If you're injured and beat up, it might be great for you to use a machine. So there's always a place for these things. But if you're really talking about, is a machine, if you're squatting on a Smith machine, if you are pressing with a chest press machine, is it really functional? Not really, because you're kind of removing the stability factor out of it. So if there's no stability factor, the body doesn't have to stabilize anything. You're just kind of going through the movements and it's guided. So that takes a lot out of it.
Basically, if you had a choice whether to pick and you have your option, take the exercise that will require more stability rather than the machine. But like you said, there's a time and a place. Sometimes you're traveling, you're on the road, maybe for work or vacation. You're looking to get some time in the gym. Sometimes the machine's all you got. Yeah, definitely use it.
I got a hell of a pump on that cruise ship. All I did was machines. Just did 8 sets of chest presses and rows.
Dumbbells up to 15.
They actually had a decent gym on this cruise.
Did they?
Yeah, they actually did. It was decent, but it was a lot of machines, but it got the job done.
I feel like I get dizzy just. Whoa.
You had to see me trying to do a skater squat on that cruise.
Oh, that was
all over the fucking place.
Extra stability.
Yeah, yeah, that's how you get functional.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but no. So
what I wanted to ask, Coach, sorry, so if someone wanted to add, so we always talk about building strength. Let's have that. We build that strength, and I think sometimes people don't realize maybe towards the end of the workout, towards performance, or if you want to get a little creative, maybe towards the end of the workout, could try to integrate something that could maybe be related to a sport. All right, would you say that'd kind of be the way to go? Not in the balancing of a ball, but let's say you're trying to work towards a sport, maybe, and I know we've done sometimes here with some athletes where we have a reaction drill and then they're wide receivers and it's, in a stable position. They turn to a sprint, they turn, but they're not sure which way we're going to throw a ball at them to catch. Would you say that'd be a way to kind of involve a sport or performance in the training?
Yeah, sure. If we're talking about for athletes, you could definitely work in drills like that. They're useful. For the general population, though, I mean, if you want to do stuff like that, it's fun. Yeah, go ahead and do it. But for athletes, yeah, of course, there's plenty of drills and stuff that you could add into your program if you have the time for it.
Yeah.
General pop people, most weekend warriors, average Joes, are you going to be doing that stuff?
No.
Like time is of the essence. Let's do the most efficient shit. And then if you have time, you want to fuck around, go ahead, enjoy yourself.
It could be your active recovery day, but while doing that, you're going to feel better if you played catch before training and then you train, working those foundational movements, get stronger. Next time you're running around, throwing the football around, you're going to feel better. It's just a guarantee.
Yeah. So, look, if you want to build strength and muscle that's going to carry over, you've got to train big compound multi-joint exercises. We talked about the patterns 100 times on this show already, so just if you're not sure, go back and check out some of the other episodes. But that's going to be the bigger bang for your buck. So functional training does not mean doing some battle ropes, running around, doing a little bit of this, doing some boot camp type of workout. Listen, if you're not building muscle, if you're not getting stronger, if you're not building stability, if you're not gaining mobility, then what are you really doing? You're kind of just going through a mindless workout that's really not giving you a bang for your buck. You're just kind of going there and exercising a little bit, which if you're doing nothing, it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
Something's better than nothing, but that could be argued too, because if you get injured doing something stupid like that, then that could be definitely an argument there.
And there's a time and a place for those type of exercise with the proper programming, with those multi-joint exercise, compound movements, getting stronger. Then there's a time and a place to involve those battle rows, maybe towards finishers, or maybe it's a separate HIIT day or a Metcon day to increase fat loss and keep your health going and strength going.
Right, and I think one of the biggest things for you to realize, if you're training on your own, or even if you're working with a trainer, challenge it a little bit. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what purpose is this serving? All right, because if your trainer doesn't know why you're doing it, if you don't know why you're doing it, if you just saw something on Instagram, like, oh, look at this guy, doing a handstand and juggling knives with his feet, like, yeah, it looks cool, but what is it really doing for you, right? So just make sure that you have a logical reason and an explanation behind every exercise, everything that you do in the gym. There should be some type of reason behind it.
That's a great point, Coach. I always love when someone asks, hey, what's the purpose of this? And they kind of want to know, why they're doing or the benefits of the exercise that they're doing. And it's great because when they're interested, and that just means they're really focused on the exercise and want to learn more about it. That's always awesome. And that's with anything in life. But with coaching here, I love when people ask and want to know, the reasons for exercises and, why we're doing it, because it shows that, all right, they're interested, and two, they're going to apply it, with proper form, technique, of the best of their ability.
Right. Yeah. And then one of the other things that, the functional, quote unquote, training gurus will kind of put down, isolation work like curls and tricep extensions and stuff like that. And look, I don't spend a whole day on isolation work and exercises like that, but again, it doesn't mean that they don't serve a purpose. Like, if you're trying to pack on some muscle, right, and so you throw 2 or 3 sets of curls and tricep extensions at the end of your training, at the end of an upper body day, right, I've never seen it do any harm to any athlete. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've never seen anybody tear their bicep because they do bicep curls. Now, if they spend a whole day doing arms, that's another thing. It's like, what are we really doing that for? But there could be arguments there too, like it's the psychology of training. Like, if you walk out to a coin toss, you're a football player, and you got jacked arms, that's kind of gives you a little bit of an edge, a mental edge too. But for most of the general population, I know that a lot of you guys and girls listening, you want bigger arms, right? So working in some type of isolation work here and there, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to make, you're not going to tear a bicep. As long as you're being smart about it, you're doing everything properly, it's not going to ruin your performance in life by any means.
Yeah, if you're doing it the right way, because the arms do serve a purpose. I mean, they're there, for flexing and extension, and the bigger your muscles get, and the better your performance and your explosion is, it has to benefit. So I truly believe in that too.
Yeah. So guys, don't get it twisted. All right, when you come across a functional training guru or some boot camp that's claimed to be functional, understand what functional training actually means, right? You want real world strength and muscle that's going to carry over, okay, into your life, regardless if you're an athlete or just you work a desk job, you work a 9 to 5, and you just want to look good, you want to be healthy enough to play with your kids, right? You want to make sure that you are building strength, that you are able to move well, that you look the part, you're losing body fat, right? We're improving the quality of our joints, we're improving stability, you're gaining mobility, so you get this all-encompassing effect where you feel better, you look better, you move better. That's what you want. That's functional training, okay? So just take some notes here. If you have any questions, of course, as always, hit me up. I'm at Chris_Tutela on Instagram. Coach, where can these guys find you?
Guys, you can find me at @Ruben, RUBEN_Borges, BORGES. Don't be afraid to ask me a question, but obviously what Coach was saying, don't be afraid to ask your coach a question. You know, be an open book. Learn the basics, and if you're not sure of something, ask.
Yeah, and challenge yourself. If you want to do an exercise, what's the purpose of it? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Doing it for? If you're not working with a coach and you're training on your own, what is the intention? What is the intent here? What are you trying to accomplish with this exercise? All right, guys, I hope this helps. Until next week, we'll catch you on another episode 25 coming up, Coach. This is a milestone for us.
Go ahead.
Oh, this guy's getting excited. He's getting ahead of himself. I think you just stroked out.
I need some coffee.
We will catch you next week on another episode of
TTS Talk.
I don't know what you just did there.
Trying to do something new.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of that hat.
No,
Hold on. Why am I getting dizzy? I feel like I'm on a boat. Fuck. Pause this.
And hold on a second.
I just got super.
We'll be right back after these.
Hold on, I just got super.
We'll be right back after these messages.